It's time to hear from the coach. It's brought to you by Shamrock Office Solutions, proud partner of St. Mary's Athletics. As Tracy Sanders straps on the headset. Boy, what a crazy game there, Tracy. I mean, you look in the first half. First of all, let's turn you up a little bit here. I think everyone's going to want to hear you. Boy, you look at that first half, and the second quarter, I mean, just nothing was going your way. Santa Clara's zone defense was extremely effective. They really took away your inside game there in the first half.
They did, and, you know, to have just played them, I thought they did a great job of making some adjustments. You know, last weekend when we played, I think we did a great job of getting the ball inside, and clearly that was something that they tried to take away today, and they did a great job. I mean, to their credit, they came out, they definitely had a game plan, and it was an exciting game for sure.
Well, what was the adjustment there after halftime? Because you come right out in the third quarter and you get a few inside buckets right away. Right. Santa Clara was leading the points in the paint there 10-4 at halftime, and the final stat line there was 20-18 St. Mary's. Right. So what was the adjustment, and, you know, how were your players able to execute?
Yeah, you know, I think just kind of the girls obviously talk a little bit before we go in. As coaches go in, and I think, you know, they felt like they were panicking a little bit and not handling the pressure. So I think that was huge, just calming down, relaxing a little bit, not turning the ball over. But, you know, I think we did a better job in the second half of stretching out their zone a bit, where we were able to get the ball more inside, and not necessarily inside to score, but inside to be able to kick it out and just ball reversals and things like that without giving them the ability to pressure us so much.
Yeah, it seemed like you were much more. But why don't you move over to my seat here, as George Devine's going to make his way over here to call the USF women's game. But it seemed like your club was much more composed and really showed that veteran presence that we know they have with 4 starters coming back.
Right.
You know, and they haven't climbed to the mountaintop here in Las Vegas yet. So is that kind of something that's talked about with this team? Or, I mean, is that kind of something where, hey, we're just going to come out here and compete and see what happens?
You know, this year especially, I think we've tried to take it one game at a time, and I think that's something that's just important. And we just want to play better. You know, we just want to get better every game. I do feel like we're playing well right now. We have good, strong, healthy bodies. You know, team chemistry is awesome right now. So I think we're in a good place. You know, I don't think our execution was great tonight. Hopefully that's something, you know, we got those first game jitters out. And we're just going to focus on the next game.
Well, and you certainly dominated in the areas that you normally dominate. 37-25, the rebounding advantage over a good rebounding team. And what we knew was going to be a physical game here tonight with Santa Clara. And in the second half especially, we talked about getting, you know, the buckets inside and getting back to the free throw line here. I think it was 15 second half free throws or something around there, 14 maybe. But that's a big area of concentration here, and being able to get back to an area of your strength was huge there.
Yeah, and you know, for us, free throws are a huge part of our game. You know, we try to be aggressive. We try to get to the free throw line early in every quarter. I think, you know, we were giving into their pressure. Instead of getting to the free throw line, we were turning the ball over and, you know, making sloppy passes, not coming to the ball, things like that. Whereas, you know, you come to the ball, it turns into a foul rather than a turnover. So we just needed to do a better job of that. And
the fact that you say you didn't play your best, you got some jitters out of the way, and you still win this game coming from behind by 10. I mean, what does that say about this team?
Oh, this team is tough. I mean, they really are. It's a great group. I think they really believe in each other. They believe in what they can do. We've been in a lot of tight games this year, and we've been in games where we've been down 10. We've been down 15. They know how to come back. I think they know what it takes to come back, and it's just really just digging in and doing the little things.
And especially as a coach, it's got to be nice to see, because those one-possession games, you lost 7 of the first 8 of those games you played, and now you've won 5 of the last 6. I mean, this team is definitely making strides here.
And that's something we talked about too. You know, this might be a group where it takes a little bit longer, and if we can be playing our best at the end, that's all that matters. You know, winning that next game is important.
And finally, I mean, there's probably 6 or 7 teams in this league that could win this thing this year, and Santa Clara was certainly one of them.
For sure.
Having a tough battle like that in your first game, what does that do going forward here? This obviously got 3 days off now before Monday. I mean, that's kind of an unusual schedule. But having that tough battle here in the first game, does that help kind of loosen the nerves maybe a little bit?
I think it does, and I think also it's kind of an eye-opener. You know, you've got to be ready to play. It doesn't matter who you're playing once it gets to the conference tournament. I mean, everybody knows you lose, you go home. So if you're not prepared and you're not ready and you're not focused, then you're on the first plane out of here. So I think, you know, it is a little bit eye-opening. And next game, you got to be ready. We have to be just a little bit more focused and able to handle things.
Well, Tracy, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
That's going to be a team-building win for your club going forward this weekend. A hard-fought one. Congratulations, well-deserved.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Tracy Sanders, brought to you by Shamrock Office Solutions. Well, as we're joined by the voice of the San Francisco Dons, It's George Devine. George, thanks for joining us. Of course, we've got your equipment all over the place here, but it's nice to have you next to me.
Yeah, Alex, it's a very cozy situation back here. If you ever rode in the backseat of a Ford Pinto, you'd probably realize what we're going through on press row here. It's a tight squeeze, but it's always good to be around friends.
Well, hey, 9-point Santa Clara lead here in a matchup of 3 and 6, and for St. Mary's, a few numbers stand out here. I mean, the Gales average almost 19 turnovers per game. That is kind of who they are here, but 13 in the first half's a lot, and Santa Clara's turned that around to 13 points of their own.
Santa Clara is a very opportunistic team, and I think a team that underachieved a little bit this year. They're better. Their talent is better than their record. They got into, the WCC this year had a lot of teams that couldn't play on the road, played poorly on the road. And, St. Mary's is one of the few teams that played well on the road. With Santa Clara, they're a team that's always worried me. You've got too much talent. Marie Berthold is a senior, could be playing in her last game tonight. Morgan McGuire is very talented post. Emily Wolf can give you big three-point shots in a lot of different places. So they're a team, even though it's a 3-6 draw, I don't know if I feel good about it, if I'm a St. Mary's fan right now.
Well, and you said with Emily Wolf, she's knocked down 3 threes, but what's been impressive to me for Santa Clara is the zone defense. I mean, right now they are just, I don't want to say competing harder than St. Mary's, but they're the first team to every loose ball, and they're cutting off a lot of passing lanes here at St. Mary's and forcing them into some tough decisions on the offensive side. Yeah,
that zone is really tough, and especially they put some longer bodies out on the perimeter, and you get some hands in the passing lane. That's what Parkinson does so well in Berthold. And then you're bringing in, McGuire will step out a little bit. Carlson's got good size. Taylor Berry's a great athlete and a quick kid. And you talk about those passing lanes, and getting to the loose balls. A kid like Taylor Berry or Emily Wolf can hurt you a lot.
For all intents and purposes, Santa Clara has shut down the St. Mary's inside game as the Gales with just 4 points in the paint, Santa Clara with 10. That is part of what Paul Thomas prides himself on, and this club is getting points in the paint. But as of right now, George, it looks like Santa Clara is really doing all they can to shut that down and dare the Gales to beat them from outside.
Yeah, and the Gales, if you look at their stat sheet, it looks like a 97 stat sheet in terms of the number of three-pointers they take a ball game. They don't take a lot of threes compared to a lot of other teams in this conference. They do like to work the ball. They always are good at finding the open player, especially on the weak side or on the help on the baseline. And Santa Clara with that long zone on the outside can take that right away from you.
Well, the first two games today, George, you had Pacific beating Pepperdine 73-55, a game in which the Tigers ran away from the Waves there in the fourth quarter. That was a close game until that last quarter, but it's Pacific who moves on to play Gonzaga tomorrow.
Yeah, Pacific is super athletic, and here's the thing about with Pacific. They beat Gonzaga at Gonzaga at the start of the season. So that was Gonzaga's only home loss in conference play. So, if I'm Lisa Fortier and Gonzaga right now, I feel good because I'm the 1 seed, but I'm a little worried because I lost to this team at home. And Pacific is super athletic, and you get somebody like a Chelsea Leidy. I think she had 13 today. Their bench had a great game today. And then Gianna Ulu Summers, if she gets to the free throw line, she's one of the 5 best free throw shooters in the nation. She can hurt you.
How many times do you have to practice that name before you said it the first time?
It's funny. I called high school football in San Francisco, and her brother played for Sacred Heart Christian Brothers School. She went to Sacred Heart Christian Brothers School. She's a Brothers girl. And I had some of her basketball games. I had some of her brother's football games. And it's actually a little harder when you're calling a strong side linebacker making a tackle with that name than a basketball player.
Well, in the second game today, San Diego all over Portland. A tough season ends for the Pilots at 6-24. And San Diego moves on to take on BYU. And I think you look at this bracket, in a whole, George, there are about 6 teams that could win this whole thing on the women's side.
Yeah, and Santa Clara is one of them.
Yep.
And, and I think, from watching all the teams, I saw, I'm been with USF for 21 years. I missed 3 USF games this year for TV assignments. So I saw pretty much everybody this year, at least once, most teams twice. I think St. Mary's is the most balanced team. I think Santa Clara is the most dangerous team. And going back a little recent history in this tournament, last 2 years, the 6 has beaten the 3. Yep. San Francisco both times went to the championship game, won it last year. But this 3-6 is pretty dangerous. And this conference has gotten better from 6 to, let's say, 3. It's always been a good conference, 1 and 2, but the last 4 or 5 years it's gotten really good, 6-3. And last year, 5 of the 6 teams, 6 top teams in the conference had 20 wins. So this is a good conference.
And the 6th seed actually ended up winning the whole thing last year. Your USF Dons, beating St. Mary's in the semis and then beating BYU in the finals before making that run onto the tournament. This year, I mean, again, it could be anywhere from Santa Clara, LMU, San Francisco, St. Mary's, BYU, and Gonzaga. Of those 6 teams, George, which one has the best chance and why?
Well, coming into this tournament, St. Mary's was kind of my, if either one or two is not going to win it, it's going to be St. Mary's in it. But I think, you look at a lot of things. Loyola Marymount and San Francisco play in about 45 minutes. Dons have won 4 in a row, longest winning streak of the season. One of the longer winning streaks in conference play for anybody because people are so inconsistent this year.
Beating up on each other.
And then Loyola Marymount's won 4 of its last 5. These are 2 good teams that are going to meet in the second game. And this game here, I mean, St. Mary's and Santa Clara. I mean, St. Mary's swept Santa Clara during the regular year. I always worry about beating a team a third time. That's always hard.
Yeah, everyone always talks. Paul Thomas talked about it in our pregame show today. I mean, he says he doesn't take much stock in that because every game's different. But you're right. I mean, if you look at it from a 10,000-foot view, beating a team 3 times is a tough thing to do.
Yeah, it's more than a cliche. It really is. And with a team like Santa Clara that's athletic, that's big, that kind of throws this screwball zone at you and forces you out of your game. And you give them, they're up right now, they're up 9. You get in the second half, let them up 7, inside of 4 minutes to play. It could feel like you're down 13.
So for St. Mary's in the second half here, George, first of all, you take a look at this game. What are the Gales going to have to do here in the second half to keep this at a 1 or 2 possession game? I mean, if they stay down, if this game goes anything like that second quarter, you can kiss it goodbye for the Gales. But what do they have to do here in the second half to, first of all, make it a 1-possession game and just stay in this thing until the fourth quarter?
Get to the free throw line. And getting to the free throw line is about attacking the basket. They need to attack the paint better. They're out-rebounding Santa Clara 15-12. I know there's a stat with St. Mary's that when Sidney Raggio has so many rebounds, they're almost undefeated. Sidney's got 4 rebounds right now. You get her closer to 10, you got a much better chance to win this thing. Looking at the Santa Clara stats, Wolf's got 11. Berthold, 8 points. And that's one of those intangibles. She could be playing her last game of her career, and she's a good player. And she doesn't want to end it on a Thursday night with, a small crowd.
The green and gold's looking good tonight, Joe. I mean, you got the green blazer, you got the gold jacket, the green and gold tie. You are dialed in, my friend.
Well, I won the Masters, one year, and actually Fuzzy lent it to me, the green jacket. But I appreciate the compliment. It's it's been a lot of fun the last couple years with the Dons down here in Vegas, and they've been one of the hottest teams in this tournament. So. And you did a great job last year on the national radio calling the championship for San Francisco. That was a fun game to work. It was, and it was one of those games where 20 years of working with this program and a lot of bad years, and then all of a sudden it was like the Cubs winning the World Series. You win that game and just I had to catch my breath afterward.
Yeah, no question. And sure, it was an outstanding ride for you. You get to go to the NCAA tournament and. Again, I mean, throw them up, put them in a hat and pick one out. I mean, that's how it's going to go this year, it seems.
I had one complaint about the NCAA tournament. I live in Redwood City. I live exactly 11 traffic lights from Stanford. And the NCAA sent the Dons to Stanford. And I was hoping for the charter plane and the police escort and the envelope of meal money. No. It was just, And, we're going to pay your mileage to drive 4 miles.
No question. Well, hey, we'll look forward to watching the rest of this one, George. You'll be sitting right next to me, of course. Have a great call.
Thanks.
USF and LMU are coming up 45 minutes after this one, and we'll probably talk to you later on here in Las Vegas.
Keep up the great work, Alex. You do a great job. Great Gale right here, and hopefully we can work some baseball together again.
Ditto, George. That is George Devine, voice of the University of San Francisco Dons.